Facebook, hello. So we have Alicia. She's getting set up here. We're gonna show you an example of actually how to set this thing up. So should be a lot of fun. And then from a content creation perspective, I think sometimes people they'll ask a lot of questions of how do I post up stuff that when I have an actual product. So we'll give you an example of tea with Su Ginseng that I got from Ben. Ben's here, and a piece of candy. So for a lot of people, they end up like just taking a photo shot or a video and like, oh, here's me explaining about the candy, and that's not really good storytelling. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that today in today's session. If you have any questions or there's anything that you want to know, feel free to put it in the comments below. Davis, what's up, buddy? Put your comments in. We'll make sure that we address them. Yesterday, hi Ben, had a great Ask Me Anything. That's a new thing, AMA. I don't know if you guys have seen that hashtag running around. And so I'm still answering questions to people today. And so just so you know me, I'm not good at the typing. I'm not good at the word unless it's spoken. And so what I've done is I'll type out a real quick answer for folks, and then I'll create them a YouTube video, and I've just been uploading them so that way it makes it a little bit easier for me. So appreciate you guys coming on, and so if there's any questions that you have, feel free to leave them in the comments below. But I appreciate everybody that comes in. We're just going to jump right in. Yeah. There might be a couple more people that are going to come. Carrie Ann unfortunately couldn't make it. She had nominated a local nonprofit in town, and they're recognizing them, the women's community, and so she's there. So she apologizes that she wasn't able to make it. But she and I we talked a little bit about what we're going to be talking about content-wise today, and so a lot of the things that she and I we're going to talk about, we'll address today. So even though she's not here, we'll at least get it out there. So, but for you guys that are here in face to face, is there anything that, as you think about like your social media posts or your overall strategy, that kind of comes to mind?
In regards to execution?
Mm-hmm. That you want a little more clarity on, that or we could address today.
How to mix the storytelling, like with Su Ginseng, for example, we have the story, we have the background, but then how do I tie that in with a product? Or how do I mix that in from a selling perspective on how to get like the tea or the candy, for example, out there in a way that's not obtrusive or too overbearing, but in a way that's subtle.
Okay, so for those that couldn't hear that, Ben would like to know, he's got this great company, it's got a lot of history. Hey Brent, how you doing, buddy? And so how do you basically, almost in a sense, pay homage to that history that got us to where we are today? At the same time, we want to sell stuff. So it definitely becomes, how do I basically story tell and not story sell?
Yep.
Right, because that's going to rub people the wrong way. Because we've all seen those posts, right, where we're like, oh gosh, it's another one from that one person that always is telling me to buy this thing or that thing or go to do this thing. Yep. Or it's a company that's always telling you to buy. And it reminds me here locally of the radio, if you ever listen to that old medium, the 199ride.com dude.
Yes.
Right? So it's catchy. There's a person that talks about, hey, you can buy a car for $199 a month, but it's annoying. So the moment that his commercial comes on, I don't listen to the radio, but if it does come on, I basically change the channel. Oh, yeah. Because it's gotten to a point that his storytelling is not all about selling. The moment that you start just wanting to sell something and not focus on the actual benefit to the person, and that's when it becomes a sales process. And so people love to buy. They love it. Right? Their health, their body, they're planning for the future, whatever it is that they want to look good. We want to buy it, but we don't like to be sold, right? People come to car lots all the time, and the salesperson will come to them and say, hey, can I help you? No, I'm just looking. Really? You came to a car lot just to look? There's very few odds that you just came here to check something out. Right. So the problem with that mentality is that they don't want to be sold something. They don't want to be kind of tricked into buying something that they don't want to. And so that's kind of where the same thing kind of happens online for a lot of people. All right. Hey, everybody. So what we're going to do today, because Alicia was nice enough to bring her stuff, we're going to show you if let's say, for example, she's got a demo, and so what we're going to do is I'm going to flip it around. And so imagine as if we pressed record, the moment that I flip these cameras around, and now we started it into a video. So the cool thing about this is it's one of the products is for feet, right? It's a sock. So if you don't want to see yourself, right? So if you're concerned the way that I look, you're concerned about the lighting, this is cool because products don't have to go. You don't have to show your face. Sure. So same thing with with the tea. I can show me pouring water into a cup. Hopefully the cup has your company logo on it. We're going to show. This is pretty awesome because the setup here is really nice. So that way you get the full logo. You're going to get the full effect of the business behind it. And so that way, if I'm just showing the tea being poured in and this tea bag, and then I have the business, the mug is Su Ginseng, then I'm basically just promoting the business. So it's really kind of cool. Okay, so I'm just gonna. Are you ready?
Yep.
Yes, she is. Of course she is. So because she's done this many a time. That's the reality. So we're gonna come right here. So you can see what's really cool here is that she's got this set up here, okay, and it's got her business. And then here I'm gonna pull this up. Oops, sorry, you're looking at my crotch. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that, Instagram. So we look here at this demo, and she's got, I don't know if you can see it very well. The laptop camera isn't that great. So it's got Vox. So even if we just angle the camera just directly down, then we're just going to get the logo of the business, which is really kind of cool. So I'm going to leave this up here so that way you guys can at least kind of see us doing it. All right. So it's just going to be at our feet for right now. So it's not a great angle, but I think you'll appreciate kind of where we're going to be coming from. So I'm going to stop talking, and so imagine we just pressed record. And again, you can totally hack this, by the way. I got a selfie stick. It was like $12 on Amazon. You don't want to spend any money. I've laid boxes behind my cell phone camera and just pressed record. So don't feel like you have to go all out on equipment. I even had my 11 and 8-year-old sons. They'll record for me. The 8-year-old's his camera works really shoddy, so hopefully I don't need anything still. So I'm gonna let. So imagine we just press record and we're gonna jump right in. Okay.
Okay. So the cool thing about this is you have to take your shoes off.
Okay.
And he's got awesome socks on already. So what we're going to show today is a dynamic gait balance test and a lateral stability balance test.
Okay.
So it's really cool. You can focus on his feet. I'm going to have you step on the center feet.
Okay.
And what you're not going to be able to see right now is I'm going to have you go fist over fist right close to your chest,
okay,
so you're completely centered.
Okay.
And I'm going to press directly down on you. I want you to resist against me. So
okay,
if you guys could focus on his feet and see if you see any difference when I press down directly on him. You guys see that? I don't know. I want to actually turn this way,
okay,
so they can maybe see. Yeah, see.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
See
okay.
This way. We'll try this again here. Okay. You guys see that? I'm sure you did. So you can see that his balance going forward, his heels lifted up and his toes kind of curled down into the ground. So you felt that too, right?
Absolutely.
The next test we're going to do is a lateral stability test, and we're going to go into the outside of the feet with your arms straight down.
Okay.
You're going to make a fist, and I'm going to lift up on your fist, and you're going to resist against me again.
Okay.
So engage your shoulder.
Okay.
And then I'm going to lift straight up. So I was able to tip him over. You guys saw that? All right, we'll do it again.
Whoa.
All right, so now we're going to do the same exact tests with him on the technology.
Okay.
I'm going to go this way so people can see the balance difference. And then you go fist over fist. And then I'm going to go directly down again. This time I'm going to use my whole entire body.
Wow, I gotten stronger. That's insane.
That was awesome.
Yeah. Do that again. How's that possible?
Yeah.
That's
so
crazy.
what's happening is you're stepping on neurotechnology. The neurotechnology is stimulating it's a specific pattern that's stimulating your entire brain, basically.
Yeah.
Putting your body at homeostasis, and I like to say chilling you out.
Yeah.
So it instantly gives you better stability, balance, mobility, range of motion, and also decreases pain. So we'll do it again and see if I can tip them over.
Wow, this is amazing.
That's awesome.
All right. So
I feel it tingling. Is that
Yeah.
Is that possible?
Yep. everybody is a little bit different on how they react with the technology, but yeah, I've heard when they put the socks on, it's either air conditioning going through their feet, or some people will get a really warm sensation. Okay. So depending on what you have going on with your body is really different. So now we'll do the lateral stability test. And we'll do the same thing with the fist down. And
wow.
Okay, I could probably lift them up at some point, but I'm not tipping you over.
Yeah.
So your stability has increased dramatically, obviously, right away, and so is your balance. And the longer you're on the tech, the more you're going to feel the pain reduction, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the neurotechnology.
Cool. So the cool thing there, guys, is that I think that probably was just about maybe 2, maybe 3 minutes. So you can see there that you can really create a quick video. So if you have Facebook or Instagram, you know that on Instagram you have a 1 minute kind of window. But on Facebook, you have the ability to go a little bit longer in the video. And then, so for there, you just saw it there from the knees and lower. And so I think this is a great way to be able to show a product when you're kind of concerned about the lighting or how you look. And so I totally understand that not everybody's comfortable in front of a camera. And so this is a way that you can be able to showcase exactly what you want. I think about food a lot of times because I love it. But I think a lot of times, if you look at the videos that we like of food, we don't necessarily like the pictures of the end product of food. We love to watch people make it. Yeah. So a lot of times what stops us in that feed as we're scrolling through is as we watch people make it. And so a lot of times we're not even seeing someone's face at all. We're barely even seeing hands a lot of times just because of the way the angle is. And so that's kind of something that you can think about as you think about the product. So I know the other thing that we wanted to do you want to show the sock?
Yeah.
And so what we'll do is we'll show you, here's another product piece. And again, translate to whatever it is that you guys have, right? So I know that Leah's on here. She does take and bake pizzas. Awesome. So a lot of times here, Leah, you can take a video of you like putting the toppings on a pizza and maybe speed it up, put some music behind it, and there becomes an interesting piece of content. And so the cool thing about it is for you, you're not having to go out of your way to create anything, right? You're doing some of these demonstrations on a regular basis with people and showing them the power of the technology. And so you're not having to necessarily create something. You're just recording it as you're doing it with someone. Sure. Yeah. And so then so I think sometimes people we get stuck on, do we have the right angle? Is it going to look good? How's the clarity? I think a lot of times when we first start out, just getting comfortable with recording it, and getting that video up. And then worrying about editing it later. Sure. Let that come, 5-6 months from now. Yeah. I have so much content right now that people they'll binge consume. So they'll go back maybe 3 months and they start looking at those posts and they kind of catch up. It's almost like if you guys have ever been binge watched on Netflix. Oh yeah. Seinfeld finally comes out and all of a sudden you go through season 1 in a weekend, right? Mm-hmm. So the same thing kind of happens here on social media. Is people end up kind of binge consuming you. So what do you think is a good angle for the sock? Do you want to get a chair there? Or?
Yeah, I mean, the socks, basically you could just put even like right down on the table. And the socks technology, same as the insoles. It's literally just a different way of wearing the technology. Okay,
so you want to do it on the table then? Or?
Yeah, basically I can show these.
Okay, so here we are. We're just going to...
They saw the demo already.
I'm gonna take us to the table here, and so I'll let you see kind of, imagine you're going to do this yourself. So we have the selfie stick, we have the cell phone, and we're going to press record. And so I'm not going to flip it around, but normally, just so you know, horizontal for the camera just looks better. You can get a wider view. But in live sessions, because you're watching this from your phone, you don't have to turn your phone sideways to watch it. So live sessions, you basically almost always do vertically. Hello, everybody. Okay, so here we are. So imagine we just get the camera. We're going to angle it right, so that way we're just looking right here at the socks, and then she's going to just talk it through, and then you're just going to watch.
So basically, you're not seeing the demonstration. Hopefully, you already saw that video. But showing you just that technology of the socks and insoles is the exact same. You can notice that it looks like a thumbprint or fingerprint, That is so because the founder of the company was very smart, and it is proprietary, copywritten, so nobody can ever steal it because he hid the tech pattern, the specific pattern in his thumbprint. Nobody has his thumbprint, so he's really a smart guy. So basically the tech pattern is hidden in this thumbprint right there. It's a well-made sock, great sock, but the only thing that really matters right here is this thumbprint. And then this is the inside of this sock. Just so you can see, this is a great arch support. We have Achilles support and calf support for the crew sock, but right here, that is, I don't know if you can kind of see, I mean, it's literally a woven material. Or it is just, that's all it is woven. So literally that's all the technology is a specific pattern that's woven into the sock or molded into the insole. And that's what gives you all the amazing benefits of balance, stability, range of motion, mobility, and pain relief.
That's amazing. Wow.
So.
Okay. So thank you so much for that. As you can see, that was, those are instructional videos. And so one of the cool things is, as you think about videos, how-to videos, they're very common, very popular on YouTube. And so think about that for yourselves as you think about like what it is that you're doing, how you can basically showcase something that's a little more informative that for some people you would think, oh, that's going to be like a boring video. In reality, a lot of people want to know, how can I, have better, what do you want to say? Just better mind, how I can, perform better, whether that's just, athletically or just in function, right? For a lot of people, they might have a lot of chronic knee pain or hip pain, and they've seen doctors or they've seen people, and so this is a great way to be able to just talk to people about what's going on. So one of the very common phrases that we'll say is you want to sell people on the feature, the benefit of the product or service, not the feature. So some people get stuck on, oh, it's a tea bag, right? Or it's an insole. No, it's not. That's not it at all. It's all about, what does this help you do?
Providing a solution to the problem.
Right, exactly. So if you didn't hear that, it's providing a solution to a problem. So always think about, as you're doing your videos, what is it ultimately that we're doing? So what I'm doing is I'm opening up. This is a pretty cool packaging, by the way. You might not read Chinese, nor do I. But the cool thing about the packaging is it just almost makes it feel like it's a gift, right? When you're opening it up, okay. And then so the cool thing here is when you have a product, is it's not about tea, because if that's all that you're selling, then you basically are going after you're just commoditizing whatever it is that you're offering, right? So if she just says, oh, it's an insole, you'll like it, right? Then there's no reason why someone would want to buy this, except that it's an insole. So we've totally commoditized it by talking about what it is, not what it does. And so that's really where the video is a very, very strong tool, because it can help emphasize the benefits of the different products that we have, right? So I think about my pizza. It's not about pizza, although it tastes delicious, but that's exactly what it is. That it tastes delicious. It's a family meal. It's a date night. It's a convenience. So that way someone doesn't have to cook. So that's kind of the idea. That's where you want to come from. So, all right. Was there anything else that you wanted to add?
No.
Okay. So the cool thing is that you have a nice setup here. This is what I want to show you here on Instagram, and you can see it here on Facebook as well. Is she has a really nice setup here, and so. And that's because you go to different trade shows, right?
Yeah.
And so think about, like, as you're going to do some recording, these are just really subtle things that you can put in the background to be able to just give a nice professional look versus, and I'll show you because she set this up properly. We're in an office space, okay? But you don't notice that if we're just focused in right here. And this could be your basement, unfinished basement. This could be an extra room. It could be the hallway. But when you set it up like this, it now becomes your little studio. So I don't know if you guys ever been to like a TV station?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And when you watch TV, it seems so big, doesn't it? That TV studio seems massive.
Oh, yeah.
And you realize it's a tiny room, right? It's like 10 by 10.
Yeah. Just on the Dr. Oz show in February, so yeah.
Yeah. And so even there, right? So she was saying that she was on the Dr. Oz show, which was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Did it air yet, or when does it?
Yeah, it aired.
It aired.
12th already. Yeah.
Awesome. So even there, because you see there's this huge studio, right?
It's I mean it's a big studio, but it's not as big as it looks like on the show.
TV.
Yeah,
It looks
yeah,
massive.
yeah.
It's not.
Which is again is part of the allure of kind of the production, and not to say that you need to necessarily get to production quality, right? So
Sure.
I don't want anyone that's watching to say, okay, then I'm not going to make anything until I can afford the banners and the equipment.
No.
Don't get stuck on that, because I think a lot of times you can actually do a lot of things here and create things that's going to be really impactful without having to go out of your way and buy things.
Well, and in that way, it's more natural too, right?
Yes.
Versus something that's staged or something that looks like a production, because you're focusing on that in the background.
Really good point. So for those that couldn't hear, Ben had mentioned that it gives this more authenticity. And there's a lot of value to that, especially if, let's say, a lot of people that first follow you are friends, and they know that you just kind of started this thing, or you just started this different role, and you don't need to convince them that all of a sudden you're a a marketing expert, or a transformation specialist, right? They'll be able to see you transform over time, so you don't need to kind of convince them otherwise. Thanks, Doc. This, by the way, there's a doctor on here. She's a dentist that uses Musical.ly to connect with people.
This is structured off of neuromuscular dentistry.
Oh, it is? That is wild. Okay, so we're going to continue the conversation, because I want to be able to continue to give a little bit more value. So thank you so much for bringing that stuff in, that we could talk about that. So let's see if there's any other questions. Shelly, how you doing? Doc, Leah, thank you so much. So again, guys, we're talking about when you have a product and you want to be able to just create some content. So let's talk a little bit about kind of the storytelling, because I think that's where your question really kind of stemmed from, Ben. And so I think a lot of times we have different businesses that we want to showcase, right? So Vox has got a great history, right? But it's still relatively new, right?
Yes.
And so at the same time for you guys, 50 years, right, in our community. And so those of you that are unfamiliar with the ginseng, I think like 90% of U.S. ginseng comes out of Wisconsin, which is just crazy, right? Yes. And obviously Sue's one of the larger players in town.
Yes.
And so one thing that you want to be able to do is be able to somehow showcase that.
Right.
So what are some of the things, because Ben, you've already started some stuff, so what have you already done that can kind of give some of the ideas to some of the people that you've done?
Luckily for me, I've come across like a pretty large bank of photos that were high resolution, high quality, and then along the way, I learned some Photoshop-ish type of skills, kind of self-taught myself on places like YouTube, so that's a super huge resource for me.
Yeah.
But then I'll mix the two of those, and I'll do a little bit of storytelling, and I'll add in some of that photography that we have, whether it's out in one of our ginseng gardens, our farm fields, or it's at our warehouse and our distribution area, so that way people can get that story and kind of get that background. But then I can also use that to touch on history, and I can use that to touch on the kind of ebbs and flows of it over time. And then I've also found like basically historical artifacts, so like little nuggets of articles that were written in like the 70s, articles that were written along the way throughout the company history, and those photos and the content within that is all great for storytelling as well. The tough part is that comes at obviously different points in time. So the tough part that I have, and I've shared with you with this before, is how do I wrangle all of that together into something consistent, so that if someone new on social is just joining in or wanting to learn about it, that how do they kind of wrap their head around what we've already got going on? Yeah.
So those of you, just kind of recap it. Ben's been able to do some different things in using space. So for those of you that work from home, this might not be as ideal, just because you don't want to show them like your office space or your bedroom that's / your office space, right? But those of you that might be going to an office, or I think about a restaurant to do some baking, or even a kitchen, right? You might go to a commercial kitchen and work there, but you have that space that already kind of tells a story. And so, remember that old phrase, a picture paints 1,000 words?
Yes.
Video paints millions. And so you could say, yeah, we grow this on a field. You go and take a video just walking down the field. You don't need to say anything. Maybe you put some music in the background, and there you are. People can figure out kind of what's being told there in that story. So one of the interesting things that Ben brings up is he has a lot of this history, and then what we'll talk about is more of that new startup, because I think that's a really important story to tell.
Yeah.
So if you have this history, one of the cool things that you can do, I don't know if you guys do this at all, is do you ever use like playlists on your YouTube channel?
I have.
Okay.
Not for this.
Not for this.
And
okay.
I haven't. I know that it exists. I just haven't sorted all of the content out there yet.
So one of the cool things that you can do with a lot of the video editing software out there, whether it's on your phone or it's even YouTube allows you to. They have their own YouTube app from your phone, but you can take still shots. And it automatically pans left and right on these still photos to give the feel like you're moving through almost like a video. Sure. And so I think about a lot of that old content that you have, taking photos of some of the history and then just putting in a playlist and calling that video, history, Sue of the past or something along those lines. And so, and it could be like, hey, Sue 1950 to 1970, and then that way you just start uploading that content into your YouTube channel, but then creating playlists, so that way when someone comes onto your YouTube channel, they have an organized way to consume it. So I know for myself, this is something that I'm working on. It's slow because I upload it and then I just move on. That's how I function. Yep. And I don't have a team, right? It's just me, so it's just my hours. And so I know for me, if you were to come to my YouTube channel, the hugest problem that you'll have is I have over like 1,200 videos. Sure. And so for you as an audience member, you're like, freak, I don't know where to even start. Right. So for me, I do have like a vlog where I document out my day. And then I also have Dad's thoughts. And then I have just some random videos that I've made for people and answering questions. And so all that's there. And so I've slowly added things to, so now I have a playlist for just the vlog. The Crazy Asian is what it's titled. Yeah. And so again, if you're not creative with like naming, then that's okay. But having a kind of a unique way to connect with people can be really impactful. So the other thing that comes to mind for the creating of content, right? Because that's kind of where we're at is I think a lot of times we think about needing to be really creative. Yeah. But think about it from this perspective. You're now jumping into ginseng, period, the ginseng world. At one point, it was all new, right? And so now you're coming into a space, it starts getting really familiar. But anybody that's going to start consuming you, remember, all of it's new. Sure. And so what sometimes starts becoming normal for us every day is completely foreign to someone else. So I think about you just started your own business, right? Well, actually, I think you got a couple, right? But you just started it, right? And so let's fast forward 4 years from now. Thinking back about when you first started is going to be kind of the speed bump in life. It's just going to be like, it was this thing that I did, and now now it's going really well. Where if you kind of can share with people what you're dealing with now, like, oh man, I had to do taxes this year, and I realized I really need to get an accountant. I wasn't keeping track of everything. Sure. So, of course, there's some of that vulnerability, right, that I'm making some mistakes. In that vulnerability, though, it allows people to feel a little more connected. To that point, like if I have too much of a polished end product, sometimes people are like, he doesn't understand what I'm going through, right? Yeah. As an entrepreneur, they just crushed it, right? So some people will be like, oh, well, they started in Dad's business. That had kind of already laid some stuff out. Yes, you worked hard and you busted your hump, but I'm starting it from scratch. So mom and dad didn't have a farm, right. Mom and dad didn't have a storefront. I'm just doing it. And last week I was a kindergarten teacher, and now I'm selling pizza. Okay. And then what about for you? And as you have the startup, do you find anything from a content perspective that you want to be able to, that you've had some good success in sharing in some post strategies?
Because of the instant what's the word I'm looking for? That it works instantly. Like the technology, you literally step onto the technology and it works.
Yeah.
Testimonial videos have been huge.
Yeah.
So when I do go to expo vendor events, I ask for permission and I'm able to, get those videos where I can share it because, I have a friend that has cerebral palsy and, that's going to touch on somebody's heartstrings that, may have. And then this other person might have, diabetic neuropathy and instantly that improves. So there's different, I'm very fortunate because I have instant results with this product. So it's been such a blessing to be able to share those testimonials and those speak because videos, when you see that instantly, it really speaks.
Yeah.
So as far as picture or photo content, to understand the technology without feeling it or seeing it can be kind of confusing because it's a brand new technology. Right. Neurologists all over the world said this could never be done. Yeah. And it, obviously you felt it. Yeah. It's been done.
To my head. It was weird.
So for me to put it in a post, it's maybe a little bit out there or confusing to people. So for me, videos are really, a shareable point where people can relate to.
Right. Yeah. You need to experience that. Yeah. Or watch it be experienced.
Right.
Yeah. So to a couple points that you hit on there, which is really powerful, is number one is testimonials. So there's an opportunity for you to be able to get people to talk about the products that you sell and their conviction for it. Right. So I like it in that it's remember it's a testimonial, so it's totally off cuff. Yeah. Let it be bumbled. There's a huge pause right where they're thinking, then you can delete that out. But if they're bumbling over their words a little bit, it just comes across as really authentic. And to your point, the beauty is that every person has a different story health-wise. Yeah. And so because of that, it's going to connect with a different set of individuals, right? So for me, you can tell that, I go to the gym, pretty strong dude. So for her being able to push down on and kind of move me a little bit, hey, that doesn't make sense. And then when I get the stability and then all of a sudden now I can basically hold you up, that makes sense to me. You know what I mean? And obviously I have the winter tire, but we'll eventually get rid of that. So the interesting thing about that is you can just share with people kind of in that moment that it's occurring. Yeah. And then if you're using Facebook or Instagram, if they're also on the app, you can tag them. Now, one of the downsides of Facebook business pages is that you can't tag an individual. Sure. Unless, Ben's given, authorization that his face can get seen and, it's public. So then if I get a photo of his face, then it automatically recognizes that it's his face through Facebook's, facial recognition software or whatever. And so that can be a little bit of a downside, but you can recognize, you can just say, hey, Ben at, and then name the business, because a lot of times you can tag businesses on your Facebook posts. The question that Doc has is, what are my thoughts on Facebook Watch? I think it's just a play.
What is Facebook Watch?
Facebook is coming out with a watch.
Oh no! Okay. What?
I think it's a move for them to be able to just get into hardware. So if you think about when Google first came out with their phone, it was a crappy phone. Yeah. I mean, they liked it, nobody else did, but it was a way for them to be able to get into that space and just be seen as in a hardware space. For Facebook, I think it'll come out. Some people will get it. I don't think there's anything that's innovative that's really going to be a part of it, but it's a way that they can start introducing hardware to us. And it's just another way for them to be able to just have another revenue stream that comes in. Will it have any innovations? It's all questionable. Right. They'll think that they're bringing out something kind of unique from a standpoint of probably engaging within Facebook. Sure. And then of course business people will probably figure out how we'll manipulate it. Yeah. Probably meant the equivalent to YouTube. Yeah, absolutely. So if the other thing that comes to mind is that you had mentioned. So if you can tag someone, that's powerful. And I don't know how which posts decide to get the attention. So I'll just give you an example. yesterday I went to the Business Expo here in Wausau. I took a ton of photos and I uploaded them all last night around the same time, around 1 in the morning to 2 in the morning. So a lot of people aren't going to be watching it because most people are sleeping.
Right.
But there was one photo that, and so average was probably like maybe 15 views this morning when I just looked at it here at 10 because I was showing a business owner about it. But then there was one post. It was to a steel and concrete business. They have 700 followers on their Facebook page, and it has over 450 some views. I posted it up at 1:30 in the morning.
Sure.
So maybe it was actually at 2 because it was not. Yeah, it was about 2 o'clock. And so why is that post? And so I asked my friend because she saw it. She's like, "Oh, when I pulled up your feed, that was the first post." And so I don't know how that works.
Sure.
Right? But this is what I will tell you is that there's power in tagging businesses, and there's power in putting out content. So I don't know which one's going to gravitate and which one's going to go from a post perspective, but I do know that the more that you put out there, the more likely it is that it's going to get seen. So sometimes we get stuck on, so the cool thing about the videos when it comes to product is that you can regurgitate it.
Yes.
Right? So if you take a video of, let's say, us doing it or a testimonial, play that up every Tuesday. Maybe it's Testimonial Tuesday, and you share testimonies every Tuesday. Maybe, the video that you did here in April 20th is good for the next 90 days. Or is good for the next year because you might do a flashback Friday to, hey, remember when, we had spring? I decided to do this, after we had that huge snowstorm. And so there's ways that you can repurpose the content that you've already created by resharing it again, maybe adding some of your thoughts in on that content that you already created. And so that can be, you don't have to feel like you're date stamping your stuff that has an expiration date. I think about, especially when we have products, if this tea, even if you decide to put it in a different package, a video about this tea or someone talking about it really is, it's not timeless because at some point, the coloring, the video is going to get a little bit dated. But we're used to it so often we almost forget about it. But there's a lot of commercials on TV that will use the exact same commercial. What comes to mind right now is the M&M's commercials with the it's like the peanut M&M and the plain guy.
The Cindy Crawford commercial comes to my mind.
Yeah, or like the ringing of the bells with the Hershey Kisses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, Cindy Crawford. That's got to be like the late, like what, early 2000s?
No, I think even the 90s.
Even the 90s.
First one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so there's we don't think there's anything wrong with that.
No.
Right? It's just what happens. But yeah, for whatever reason, for ourselves personally, we think, we need to keep creating new content.
Sure.
You don't have to. Okay? So don't feel like you... The but to that is you need to keep putting out content.
Sure.
Yeah.
So the thing about business pages on Facebook versus personal pages is that they're just not going to get as much traction.
Sure.
So let's say of the 20 photos that I posted up from between 1 to 2, Facebook said, hey, we're going to take that one post and we're going to let, 20% of your following see this one photo. It's going to come up in the algorithm.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it works. I didn't even tag any individual people in there because it was a Facebook biz page, and so it was just a post of these other people. Plus, it's from my business page, so I think I have less than 400 people following me there. So how it got that many is awesome to me. I'll take it. Right. So then that really comes down to just ultimately think about the strategy because that's far more important than the content. So sometimes we get stuck on, what should this look like? Or how should I place my feet? How should I place this pizza with the good lighting? The reality is that keep putting stuff out there as decent quality as possible. Sure. The one thing that I would say that we have a hard time consuming content-wise now is if it's really grainy.
Yes.
Like the picture isn't crisp. Because now we're used to really crisp videos and really crisp images. So then when we see it not like that, it irritates us, it bothers us, and so we end up not engaging with that piece of content. I even think about like Netflix, if it like kind of starts buffering or whatever, I'll like go out and I'm not gonna keep watching it. I just can't do it.
Yeah.
So when you're doing live videos, make sure the smudge over your camera is
yes,
off.
yes, that's very true. So I will clean my cameras before I take any photos. So I literally just did it. All right. So the next thing to talk about when it comes to creating of content is you don't have to be super creative, right? So think about it from the perspective of someone always think it from the perspective of someone that's never even heard of you. What's that? Why would I want this, right? Yeah. And so when you think about a lot of people that they don't even know ginseng, right? Yeah. Especially here in the United States, we're not even familiar with it. This is like a candy, and inside is it's actual little pieces of ginseng, isn't it?
Yes.
So
what does that taste like?
It's real earthy when you get the little pieces of ginseng, but then it's like almost like a honey.
Yeah, like a honey caramel
kind of. Yeah. It's not too sweet because I think the ginseng helps reduce that over sweetness in the candy. But then if you keep sucking on it, when you get those hard ginseng root pieces, then keep sucking on it because that's a little earthy.
Yes.
It's a unique flavor. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But so was everything else when you first got it.
Right.
Right. So think of it from the prospects or client's perspective. That's pretty powerful. The last thing that I would say is there's a common phrase out there: document versus create, and I say do both. Don't do one over the other. So, we can be taking your own videos of having people try this out. At the same time, share what other people are doing. Maybe someone that you're connected with has another nice video. So don't feel bad about sharing other people's content that has everything to do with what you're doing, right? Sure. Carrie, I think that happened last week, right? Carrie Ann posted up, I think, a photo of her drinking the ginseng. I think you shared it.
Yes.
So it's those kinds of things that if people are engaging with your product, then share that with people, and it makes that person feel good that they posted up using your product, right. And now you're basically telling them thanks for doing that. So I'm going to share your video, or I'm going to share your post with
especially when you may not feel like you have a story to tie into your product. You do have a story because you can always share somebody else's story.
Yes.
So that's something I know that it really blocks people because they're like, oh, I don't have a story, I don't have a testimony. Well, somebody else does. Right. Yeah. Share that. And I would never feel weird or awkward about sharing somebody else's testimony. If it's really out there on social media to share and they don't have it blocked, it's really kind of fair game.
Yeah.
So, utilize it to your benefit because it might not just be your benefit. Mm-hmm. It could be whoever you're trying to reach, that's going to benefit from it.
Yeah.
So.
And that's a really good point. So a lot of times, people that follow us, they might be like consumers, and the people that just pop on over, they might not be consumers at all, but because they liked it or they did something with the post that you had out there, then other people within their network liked it. Mm-hmm. So I think sometimes we get stuck, don't we? Because if we sell a product, we want everyone to buy. We do. We want revenue. We want clients.
Right.
Yeah.
But even those clients that don't buy, but are kind of sitting off there in the, they're interested, but they're not coming in yet.
They're just watching,
they're just watching. They just want to check things out.
Yeah.
They come into the car dealership. What they're looking for, though, is, or what you're looking for in them, is their network. So there's no one person can buy enough stuff from you versus their network. So even if they're the most introverted person, they probably know, or 5 people are connected with them. Mm-hmm. Those 5 people collectively can almost always buy more than that one person.
Sure.
And so that's really where being able to connect with people, whether they decide to buy or not, is extremely powerful. And so
6 degrees of separation.
6 degrees of separation. Well, that's the network that you're in. So just a final recap, as you think about the content that you're creating, think about those benefits and how it translates to people. Share other people's content about the products that you're selling. And then remember, as you share your story, you're just giving off what it is that people can take away from that product. So it isn't the pizza. It's the satisfaction of hunger. It's the satisfaction of that taste. It's the combination of dough. Yeah, the goodness that's going to come.
Right.
It's going to get all right here. Or it's you know, we think about some of these. The problem with sometimes the space that you're in, is typically Western health is live, work, do whatever, and then when you get sick, alleviate the problem.
Right.
Where a big chunk of the rest of the world says, what can I do to keep myself in the best shape as humanly possible? And if my body's telling me something like, I have pain in my knee, my stomach is constantly in knots, I need to be doing something differently.
Yeah.
Right? So I know a lot of people, probably in Wisconsin, probably shouldn't consume as much cheese as they do, but they do, but they shouldn't. And so a lot of times you look at kind of what comes into your bodies, how we're treating ourselves. This obviously is just crazy, just crazy tech. I mean, there's literally nothing like it. So it's really kind of cool. And so the thing about the products that we're offering is it's all about how it gets translated to them. And so tell that story, how it helps people that way. And oh, by the way, we have a sale at the end of the month. But if you promote the sales all the time, what you're actually going to create, though, is I call it Kohlsify. So those of you that don't know what Kohl's is a local retailer that you never buy anything at full retail. Yeah. Because you wait for a sale. And they allow you to put coupon upon coupon upon coupon. And so the thing about that is that they've trained their shoppers to only buy when there's a sale.
Sure.
And so I see that sometimes with people with products. I see that with some of the network marketers in beauty and in skincare, is that they only post, or they post a lot about these sales because it gets people to buy. But the problem is that you're never getting anybody, not never, you're rarely getting the people then that will buy throughout the rest of the month.
Right.
And so you've basically trained your following to only buy in the down times. And so in order to make it more consistent, you want to be able to make sure that they're buying to the story and not getting stuck on the price. Because a lot of times from a product's perspective, that's what you're offering. Because if it was priced, then we'd just go to Walmart and buy things, super cheap, right? If it was pizza, we go to Little Caesars. But if I want good quality pizza, I'm not going to Little Caesars. No offense to Little Caesars, but you still have the best pizza to me. It tastes like cardboard. So, just how it is.
That's right.
All right. Any other comments, guys?
No.
Any questions online? That's it. Okay, we're going to call it. Peace.